I'm coming to you on the heels of the Great Lakes and Governors and the Premiers Conference held in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and where Governor Tony Evers is the chair of that group, and certainly I'm representing him here today from the great state of Wisconsin. Chairwoman Napolitano, ranking members, Bruce Westerman, and Mr. DeFazio, thank you for this opportunity to speak with you today on behalf of the Governor of Wisconsin, Tony Evers, and the 8 Great Lakes states. As you've seen in my written testimony, the Great Lakes, Superior, Huron, Michigan, Ontario, and Erie are a national treasure, with 30 million Americans depending on them for clean, fresh water. Sometimes referred to as the nation's fourth coast, the Great Lakes are a breathtaking place to watch a sunrise or the perfect backdrop for making memories. But our Great Lakes are more than just nice to look at. These are waters that are the largest source of fresh water on the planet, a lifeline for millions of people. They provide a backbone for a $6 trillion regional economy, making it the third largest regional economy in the world. And they generate more than 1.5 million jobs and $60 billion in wages each year, which is why protecting and restoring these irreplaceable waters is a nonpartisan priority for the people in the Great Lakes region. Wisconsin is part of this region and is home to an abundance of natural resources, including our precious waters. With more than 1,000 miles of shoreline, the Great Lakes have a profound effect on Wisconsin's environment, our economy, our culture, and our quality of life. To give you an idea of the impact of Wisconsin, consider this. More than 1.6 million Wisconsinites get their drinking water from Lake Michigan or Lake Superior. Nearly 50% of the state's gross domestic product originates in coastal counties. More than $7 billion in cargo moves through Wisconsin's ports each year, contributing to $1.1 billion of business revenue and generating $241 million in taxes. In Wisconsin, the Great Lakes and rivers that feed them have a long history as important centers of trade and industry. But as our cities grew, these economic hubs, rivers and harbors were polluted. Vital fish and wildlife habitats were lost. Polluted runoff from excess nutrients has caused harmful algal blooms from Green Bay to Lake Erie. And now these impacts are keeping us from experiencing these waters in their fullest potential. But all is not lost. In 2010, Congress led to establish the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative, which is providing an enormous boost for the projects that restore our waters. For the last 8 years, more than $380 million in federal funding through GLRI has made over 500 projects possible throughout Wisconsin's and the Great Lakes Basin. In many cases, the GLRI funds are leveraged with state funds, local units of government, and private funding. This cost sharing allows big-ticket projects to be accomplished that would be simply too expensive for any one entity to pay for alone. In Wisconsin, the GLRI is helping protect citizens and our natural resources. For example, in the Milwaukee Estuary of Concern, more than 31 million of GLRI funds were matched with 12 million of Wisconsin state funds to remove 119,000 cubic yards of contaminated sediment from the Milwaukee Estuary near the heart of the city. The end result was a removal of more than 11,000 pounds of toxic PCBs from rivers that flow into Lake Michigan. It's about an hour's ride north of Milwaukee along the lake is the Sheboygan River area of concern, where more than 50 million of GLRI funds were matched by 33 million of state funds to remove 300,000 cubic yards of contaminated sediment. As a result, 39,000 pounds of toxic PCBs were removed, and yet thousands of acres of wildlife habitat was restored. The demonstration farms network in the Lower Fox River Basin in northeastern Wisconsin is yet another shining example of the important contribution that GLRI is making towards enhancing Wisconsin's environment and our economy. Through this effort, which is led by the NRCS, with support from the state and county conservation agencies, farmers are demonstrating cutting-edge management practices and sharing valuable lessons learned with their peers, from how to improve soil health to reducing nutrient runoff into Lake Michigan. Yes, ma'am. However, serious threats still remain. Cutting restoration funding will only make projects harder and more expensive. We see the federal government as a partner in our shared goal of healing the lakes through the world's largest freshwater projects. Without your help, there will be trouble in the water. To be candid, at a time when many citizens are concerned about the federal government will do for them or to them, the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative is a shining example of what the federal government is doing for them. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.